and I hope I'll be fair. Now, the two main conclusions in NIST report was, first, that the structural damage of Building 7 was minor and not decisive. This is important because over the years in between, there's been much speculation about how much damage happened to Building 7 from the collapse of the North Tower. And many people believe that it was completely damaged very strongly. So that was the reason why it collapsed. But NIST concludes quite correctly that the damage was minor and not decisive for the collapse itself. NIST concludes that Building 7 collapsed primarily due to conventional office fires. And this is a daring proposition for that simple reason that it has never happened before or after in history that a steel-framed high-rise has collapsed due to fires. And there's been many fires. Let me just rush you through a few of them. 1991, Norwegian Place in Philadelphia, raged for 18 hours, the building remained standing. 1988, a very famous fire in Los Angeles. I have read the summary of the fire report myself, and I can bring you this quote: "There was no damage to the main structural members, and the building remained there." More recently, from the Persian Gulf here, Qatar, 2006, there's a high-rise on flames, and it is actually burning here, ladies and gentlemen. Venezuela, Caracas, 2004, it burned for more than 17 hours over 26 stories. The building remains standing. So NIST has a difficult problem here, challenge here. And so we have to look at the fires actually, because there were fires in Building 7. Let's take a look at them. And I'm quoting the NIST report, which says that the collapse of WTC-1, which is the North Tower, ignited fires on at least 10 floors and burned out of control on floors 7, 8, 9, and 11, 12, 13. I have put this mark after out of control because the reason why they burned out of control was that nobody controlled it. There was no attempt to extinguish any of the fires. But please notice that here we had 10 reported fires, and the report also said that by 1 p.m. there was no visual evidence that the small early fires on 19, 22, 29, and 30 were still burning. So 4 out of the 10 fires were gone out at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we only have to bother about fires on 6 floors. Let's take a look at these. I'm still quoting the NIST report. You don't have to remember these numbers. But here they are, nevertheless, just to give them an impression that it has actually been very accurately reported. And NIST has written a log on every window in the building, actually, and guessed on the temperature behind it. Very thoroughly. The chapter is 112 pages. They really took an effort to do that. And if here's the result, let's say on the 7th floor, it started burning observation at 2 o'clock to 3:15, and 4:15 to about 5 minutes later, etc. Now, here I can tell you what actually the decisive floor would be the 12th floor here, where the fire starts 8 minutes past 2 to 2:30, and then bursts are observed throughout the afternoon until the collapse of 5:20 p.m. Now please notice that on each of these floors there's no observation of fires before 2 o'clock, which means that there was no fire observed in the building at all between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock. And why the fire started again, nobody knows. Huh? You know? You can guess, yeah. And so let us take a look at these fires. And the first picture I'm going to show you is actually one of the early fires. And because this is the only evidence we have for a fire on the south side of the building. This is the southwest corner, and these numbers are referring to the floors. So this is the 28th floor, the 29th, the 30th, 31st floor. And we can see obviously that there's something going on here. there has been a fire here on the 29th floor. There's still something happening in here, but it's gone out. Now, but this fire, as I told you, is one of those who actually went out afterwards, right afterwards, because an office fire only lasts for about 20 minutes. Then there's nothing left to burn, and either the fire is moving on to the next office or it dies out. Now, what's more actually interesting is what happened in the afternoon. Now we are back on the opposite side of the building. This is the eastern facade here. This is a close-up of the same fire. We are on the 11th, 12th floor. This is the southeast corner here. And the small numbers are referring to the perimeter columns behind, which very conveniently provide us with a coordinate system. So if you're referring to which floor you are on, or which small column is in the neighborhood, you know exactly when the building you are. And so this is about 2:30 in the afternoon. This is the front face, close to 3. And actually I can tell you the most important thing in this report is what's happening here on the 12th floor. There's a little fire here. This is the 7th floor. Things are happening down here. A little later, the fire on the 12th floor is bigger. We are close to 3 p.m. And the 7th floor has spread a little bit to the west. About 15 minutes, it's still the north side here. The fire on the 12th floor has moved a little bit to the west, and so has the fire on the 7th floor. But this is about all. About an hour later, I'm back to the southeast corner, and we can see here that the fires I showed you before have gone out. There's been a fire here on the 8th floor, gone out, obviously. There's tremendous smoke coming out here, so maybe somebody has forgotten his winter tires in the office. I don't know. At this point, I'm frequently asked, now what is all the smoke here in the background? Well, some of it is from Building 7. There's no doubt that there was, I don't know the proper English word for it, but when you say a low-level fire, when the fire is just
smoldering.
Yeah, like that. Because there's no doubt that there was a small fire going on and some smoke coming out of the building. And the wind that day was from the north. So it's coming out, it's a small wind coming out here. So on the back side, you will have the wind will be vacuum, not the under pressure. The wind will come out of the back side. But most of the smoke here is from WTC 5, which is the building behind 7. And what was going on with Building 5 at this time? Well, it looked like this. There was actually a fire. It was a smaller building. Do I have to say that it remained standing? Yeah. And there's no sound in this clip, so I can keep on talking. So this is World Trade Center. So it could burn. I don't know why it burned. Building 5 and Building 6 was lying next to it. It's the story on its own because it has a gigantic hole in the roof somehow. But we'll go back to Building 7. And this picture I appreciate a lot because, of course, some electronic cameras have a timestamp on. So you can say very accurately that this picture is taken seconds before Building 7 is going down. This picture also has been timed by NIST itself, and the time has been determined out from the angle of the shadows and also the light that's gone on. So they claim that this picture is taken just before the building went down, and I can't see any fires here, I must say. So we had to conclude the fires in Building 7 were small and random. Now, NIST does not make any attempt, actually, to hide what their enterprise is, what they have to do.